All right. So, brother, how are you doing, man?
My man. Good, good. Thank you for the opportunity. I know we were trying to connect for a while. Been following your YouTube channel, your stuff out in the industry. Happy for this opportunity. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Thanks for having
you're very welcome. So, to everybody, let me, if you don't mind, I got to take a moment to introduce Peter Lundberg. He's a sponsored driver with Reefs RC and Cal RC. Um, And I'm sure there'll be a few more coming down the pipe too. I'm seeing your builds through IG, Instagram, Facebook. I mean, they're solid. They're definitely going to perform, and it's one of those. It's up to the driver to make it do it.
me. Yeah,
Because I feel like that's where we all are. Are we enough of a driver to actually drive the rigs that we build?
yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
game.
and you get a vision, right? There's different types of rigs out there. There's a lot of build kits coming out. I started out to get into the crawling industry with an RTR. Now if I look back, maybe I would have got a kit, but Vanquish Products just released a build kit. Vanquish Products, Axial has one, Traxxas has one. So the industry is evolving. Let's say, keeping it young, spreading it to everybody. Getting a younger generation is key for this industry.
No, you're not. That's an understatement of the world right there. Um, you and I both have younger tiny humans, and I mean, I'm trying to do my best to get my daughter into it, and I know you are as well. And where's it going to grow? It's going to grow from them, and then it's also going to grow from people just seeing us out there
Yeah.
playing, having fun, and our kids having fun.
Yeah, and I think that's important. I mean, I started out back in 1998, believe it or not. Everybody knows the Clodbuster. I mean, that was my first rig, custom Clodbuster and a Grasshopper. I
Yep.
mean, I'm going back to the day. And then I lost touch. You grow up, you get a corporate job, and I decided to get back into a hobby, and I started with a Traxxas VXL. Got it up to 60 miles per hour, and watched all these crawling videos, and said, let me just get an RTR.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try it out. I got the Axial Jeep SCX10 2 platform, um, made it my own, and it was featured in RC Car Magazine. And
That's
from that,
awesome.
yeah, from that moment on, I said, maybe there's a hobby here, maybe there's something, and I just kept building it, and then I started my crawling journey. My next rig was the Axial Chevy Blazer, which was built on the same platform, which Axial has probably 7 rigs now on the same platform, and saw a buzz about the Bomber. That's
Mm-hmm.
my favorite rig, and somebody fell in love with my truck, and he said, "You want to trade?" And I got a stock Bomber out of the box manual, and I made it my own. Baby's toys, money wise, into it, but that was also featured in RC Car Magazine, 2 rigs. So from that moment on, I said, maybe there's something here. So now I got 3 rigs, and just picked up the car rig we were talking about, the Team Lassie. And, I want to touch a little bit about sponsors.
Yep.
Reached out to Mr. Reef, my first sponsor, took me in. Great guy, great dude.
You,
You had him on your show. Great guy.
Yeah, actually, it's interesting you mentioned that because Reef is in the house. He's watching us live, throwing down our lines, man.
Great, Mr. Reef. I wore the hat for you, pal. Um, great products. I support the brand. The servos are amazing. You know, Reef has got. Well, you're the servo. Well, you laugh because you're the servo killer,
I
but
do things. I push my rigs 30 feet down. They go tumble, 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 run upside down, plug it in, plug it out. It runs. I hope.
I think Mr. Reef has got something for you coming up.
I want
But
that 1,000. I want that 999. I
yeah, well,
promise I'll push it. Promise.
Well, it's interesting because, Mr. Reef followed my builds, followed, and I just reached out and I said, give me a shot. And, I'm in New York, a lot of West Coast, a lot of crawling competitions, like we talked about, not much out here in New York as far as the crawling aspect. RC car racing, much different, same as
Hmm.
you. I purchased a Reef 555. That was my first servo. Still have it on a 10-pound bomber right now. I see a lot of negative press, bad, sponsored drivers talking, but it's going to happen, right? That's the world we live in, right? It's competition. But I will say, I don't know how tough you drive. I probably drive 10-pound bomber, pretty tough.
Yep.
555, no problem. Then I bought a 444, and then I bought a 400 SC for my axial Yeti.
Yep.
Uh, Great products. Just a touch. Pro Line by the Fire just happened.
That,
Uh,
yeah, man. He didn't he just come out with some crazy products.
Yeah, and just to give a high level, four new products he unveiled. This wicked awesome. If you go to his website, you'll see them all, but the 999, which still specs to be released, release date, but nice work stand. You'll see a nice work stand on his website.
That's what I
Uh,
need.
1.9, the new Wraith chassis brace, very good product. I mean, the thing I like about Mr. Reef's products, they're well engineered, they're thought through. The third product is the magnetic hex wrenches. I've been using the product, fantastic. You don't lose your screws. Great product, great adapter for the tools. And then the ultimate 999, which specs are coming. It's from what I know and from what I was told, it's right up your alley. It's gonna set the industry.
Yep.
It's gonna set the industry. I mean, from what I heard and from what I heard from Proline by the Fire, it's going to be a great servo. So excited for that. Excited for the new products. Just a great company. And then, going into Cow RC, that's my newest sponsor, Heath, Andrew, and Sean, the guys at Cow RC. Another great company. And you still owe me a purchase, by the way. I know I've been coming after you to buy something. Um,
I don't clean my rigs very often. When I do, they get greased.
well,
I
these
run
guys.
the crap out of them. Well, except I am going to take apart that servo. I did get the skinny on how to prevent some of the issues I've encountered with not with almost all servos. Wow, because I kill motors. I don't kill gears. I kill motors. It is what it is. Uh,
Well, and this is stuff going on. I mean, Cal RC's been great to me. The whole family, the whole team. They have the RC racing side as well
right.
as the crawling side. CalRC.com. They make magnetic part trays, pit
Seen those.
mats, all the cleaning stuff. I mean, the formulas are fantastic. Heath and his whole team, hands down, stand up guys. Thank you for taking me in on that. I use their products daily. Believe it or not, my stuff does get dirty and it gets nice and clean quickly. Uh, their website is fantastic. Check it out, calrc.com. Thank you to the team over there. A special shout out to Andrew and Sean. They basically onboarded me and introduced me to Heath, who's the owner of CalRC. So, very happy to be a part of them. Very happy to be a part of Reefs RC. Great websites, great products. I strongly push
Yep.
the brand, as you can see on my Instagram, because
Yeah, you do.
I believe in both companies. A lot of drivers, I see guys with 9, 10 sponsorships. I'm growing. I like to believe in what I support, and Reef and Cow RC, great products. They got great stuff out, great stuff coming out, and I hope I stick with them. Definitely great stuff.
Yeah, they really do. I haven't used too much of the cleaning products, so I can't speak for that, but I can definitely speak for the reefs. I got a 444 in my class 1/class 2, which I got to give a quick shout out to another reef driver, actually, Bill Riddle, who was a judge and actually designed a course, and you guys will see a video up with my not only myself but also my dad driving as well, his sport, which has got a 555 on it. But Bill Riddle actually designed the course, and he's like, oh, it'll take 15 minutes. Now, we had a bunch of serious drivers, some very, very solid drivers. Zero of us made it in 15 minutes. The fastest I think was 15:45, and there was maybe, including Bill himself, there was maybe 5 people to actually finish it and not do the rollovers because it was a scale trial, not quite the the full G6. It wasn't quite a G6, wasn't quite a Sorka, but the rules were, roll twice, then you're pulled off the course, and you don't time out. Hit a gate, you get points, use winch, use whatever accessories, use sand ramps, have fun. So I was one of the ones, actually, I was the first to finish, and I'll take that as my claim to fame because I was using an HPI, because no one drives an HPI, but apparently I do. Because, I don't own an Axial, as I was telling you. I'm one of those guys. And it comes down to the creativity. And if you ever come down here, come down to DC area, please let me know. There's 2 courses I'd love to take you on. 3, actually. One is an island in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It gives you everything: sand, mud,
Nice.
rushing water. We're talking 60-degree slope, go on down, and it's all natural. Also, those tree roots that really make your suspension articulate, it's beautiful. So yeah, come check me out. I think Brad's on here as well. Come, give me a shout. And so as we move forward, you know, you mentioned Proline by the Fire. I don't know about you, but I saw a couple products that really got me excited. 2 in particular. There's some spy shots of an Axial 6x6 out there. I don't know what it is, if it's real, if it's, what's the community's buzzing though. And then the second one was a bit of a surprise. Team Associated, they got in a crawler game with the CR12, but they all of a sudden got really serious with the good old fashioned, what is it? The Enduro, Sorrento, is that how we say it?
Surrender. Yeah.
Yeah, Sorrento. And I saw that. I saw the specs on that. I feel like they took the best of Axial, the best of Traxxas, and the best of like HPI with their behind the steering turning, and made it into one truck with overdrive already in the transmission.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I have one on order. Shh, don't tell my
Yeah,
wife.
and to be honest with you, so I was
Yeah.
watching a lot of the Reefs team and the Cow RC was streaming live, and I watched it all week, all weekend, and the buzz about this truck. I mean, it's. I followed them immediately on Instagram, immediately on Facebook. They got specs on it, they got images on it. The buzz on that truck is just all over social media. It looks very attractive. Would it be my next rig? I don't know. Since you already have one on order, you let me know. But yeah, a lot of buzz about that. Pro Line by the Fire looked fantastic. The boots that I saw, everything looked amazing. That's something I want to attend next year. I'll pick you up in DC. We'll go. Uh,
Good luck with my wife. Mama Bear. Well, Mama Bear.
Yeah, for me to get away from 2 kids for a weekend at Axial Fest or Pro Line by the Fire, it's going to be challenging. But yeah, it looked like Knights Customs was there.
Yep.
A lot. Reef Servos, Cow RC had a representation. The guys were all there. They had, I believe, Reef set up a course with Gates.
Yep. He sponsored one.
A sponsored one that looked awesome. Good job, Reef and the team. All the major players were there. It looked like an awesome event. Proline did a great job. Definitely something I want to attend. But I do like seeing the new products. I do like seeing the unveil. We look at Axial 124 deadbolt. I mean, maybe it's time for my daughter to get a rig, but the Can-Am Junior. They're going with these miniatures, and I
Yep.
understand where they're. My interpretation of that is expanding into the younger generation, right? Like how many SCX 10s do we have? 7, 8 with fancy bodies. I support Axial. I run all their rigs. But Traxxas, Red Cat, they're killing it. They're coming out with rigs left and right. But Axial goes down to a 124 deadbolt, and I understand why. But there's a lot of products out right now. Like I mentioned earlier, Vanquish products came out with a raw builder's kit. That's something interesting. Axial has the raw builder's kit. Traxxas does. I mentioned earlier when we started, I bought an RTR because I wasn't sure. People ask me for advice. How do I get into it? Do I buy
Hmm.
a kit or do I buy an RTR? My advice is, now being in the circuit for a while, I would go with a kit because I can't tell you how much money I've spent on electronics.
Right.
Biggest problem I have is I like Castle. They're always out of stock. I got to wait till
Yep.
June for a new setup, because everything's on back order. But I tell people RTR. If you're going to
Yep.
go hardcore into the hobby, then you buy a kit, right? You're going to get a Tekin setup. We all know, everybody on this
Mm.
call, how much it can get for a powerful, ESC setup.
I'm not a Tekken guy.
Well, hey,
I know you could say everybody makes mistakes. That's all right. I bet you you're a you're a New York Ranger fan. That's okay. Everybody makes mistakes.
hey, okay.
we,
I'll take that.
I'm a
Jets and Yankees. So,
oh, all right, fair. But I mean, I'm a hobby wing guy, down through the ESCs. But I am interested to see where that goes. Actually, my dad just got a, a Castle Mamba X. This is the first one that's coming into my house. And he's also got a Three Brothers Kratos 6 on the way.
yeah, well,
So,
I mean, to be honest with you, I did the research, and my 10-pound bomber has a full Mamba setup with the crawler edition motor, and I run
nice,
this thing hard, around my neighborhood and trails, not one problem. I mean,
nice.
I love. There's no clogging. It starts up, never fails. I have the Bluetooth adapter. I change all the settings in real time for my phone on the trails. Um, super setup. But the problem is inventory.
Yep.
We all know that with any product. I recently bought products from a supplier, and I'm still waiting for products. I only got 3 out of 5 items, and you
I hear
know,
that one.
I'm sure everybody's been there. Things fly off the shelf, and it's hard to keep up. And but
You don't have to worry about the Hobby Wing Axe that already has Bluetooth already built in.
so there you go.
Sorry.
So uh, another reason why. But
That's the beauty of competition. Is they're going to push everything.
yeah,
Um, as you go, actually, we had a comment here on the live chat about the Element RC, the Enduro, and the Brad brings up the point. It looks like a Chevy Love. You remember those?
yes,
I had
yes,
one. That was my
yeah,
first truck. I had a
Chef,
Chevy Love.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a
It's
great point.
It does. That's a good comment. I mean, it does look like it, but yeah, that's the buzz right now. I mean, I'm very big into social media platforms, and
Yep.
I follow them. They're posting their technology with their drivetrains, and I'm sure everybody's seen it. Yeah, they had a big following at Proline by the fire. It looked like great truck. Looks
Yep.
like a solid setup rig. As far as the industry, like we talked about before, there's a lot going on. You got battles
Yeah.
over raw builders kits. You got new rigs every other month. You got 124s. You got fancy bodies on the same platform.
Yep.
It's where the industry is going. It's very competitive, I feel, and
Yep.
it's that rig that somebody will buy a second one of or recommend, like the Axial Bomber. I would recommend that to anybody. There are tweaks that I would make. Obviously, battery tray. There's a lot of design elements that could be better, but I focused all my attention a year into this rig, and it's all about what you love. And I say to people that ask for my
Mm-hmm.
advice, it's your drive style.
That's true.
What do you want to accomplish? Are you going to be out on the course like you, blowing reef servos up, trying to, or
Yeah.
are you going to be a racer, or are you going to just do it, with your son or daughter?
Here's the other side of it. Do you want to compete and have a rig to compete, plus also go out on the trails and then say, "Hey, hold my beer. Let's see if this works."
Yeah.
And that's actually where I am. That's why I get into so much trouble with everything, is because I'm on the trails and I'm like, "Hey, can I do this hill climb? Oh, there's a rushing river right there.
Yeah.
Win some. That's
Yeah.
why you carry a fishing rod, so you try not to lose some."
Yes. Yeah, and when you're on the trails and you're doing that and you're testing your rig and trying to find out
I
what
love it.
what drive style you are. I mean, I think it comes to a question what you want to accomplish.
Hmm.
That determines what kind of rig you get.
That's exactly.
I remember on your last interview, and I say this to Mr. Reef all the time when he showed all his rigs. There was one rig that stuck out to me that was probably on my list, the Trailfinder Marlin. He had the long wheelbase one, and I look at some of these specs and look at what I want to accomplish in the industry over the years, and that's a solid. I immediately when I saw it, I went to the web, I researched all the specs. That's a great rig, right out of the box.
Yeah.
Don't you can go right to if you wanted a comp. I mean, it's comp ready almost.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's what you want to do. I guess that's my point. It's your drive style, what you want to accomplish in the industry. Right now, I got solid rigs. I'm going to be hitting the trail soon. We get weather in New York. It's not the West, the West Coast has different climates. Right now, all my rigs are ready to go. I was out today, fine tuning, ready to go. But, the industry is ever changing, ever changing.
So where do you think the industry itself is going to be? I mean, I'm not even going to ask about the 5 year plan with all these trucks coming out. All I really think it's the positive change, because the competition and the creativity of the people are really pushing the companies to do better. Um, like, for example, Red Cat put out with their Gen 8 3D parts that people can print.
Yeah.
That's a game changer. Like,
Yeah.
that means the factory designers are supporting what people want, and they're getting it to them, and so that way people can then make tweaks. And like, because I mean, designers, their guys are trained. When I talked with Jeff and his team, like, his team is very well trained, degrees and very deep education inside engineering. But again, the creativity of people takes all of that and pushes it to a different level. Where are you, like, you've been in this hobby for many a moon, how about that, many moons. um where do you see it going in the next, not even 5 years, but maybe a year or two?
That's a great question. I mean, the red cat thing with the 3D. What do people want today? What do they want when they have a rig? They want to have customization, right?
Mm,
I used my bomber as an example. Took it out of the box. I have upgraded everything down to the last screw.
yeah, you have. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have.
Uh,
Not.
I mean, there's nothing else I can do. It's done. But I guess to answer your question is customization, quality of products. I look at the way Reef servos are designed, the special touches of the bezel of the front of it, the way it's built. I look at Vanquish products. I think people in the industry are looking for rigs that can be customized to their liking, have tons of upgrades available, and as far as ESCs,
Hmm.
motors, shocks, drivetrain, I look at Vanquish products. They make parts that can be used across all different classes of rigs.
Yep.
The customization piece, the 3D printing, that's a game changer. When I brought up Bluetooth with Castle, that is huge. That's the first time I've seen it. Maybe I think Tekken has it also. But being on a trail and be able to just open up your phone and change from one driver
Yeah.
profile to the next in 5 seconds, that's the future. Bluetooth capability. We're already there in real life with other things, but to be able to change your profiles in real time is huge.
It really,
Um,
yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's scary. I mean, it's even coming down to the technology that's being used inside of our controllers. We have the 2.4. Where's it going to go next?
yeah.
Are we gonna are we actually gonna end up seeing what is old technology for phones, but maybe a 3G type of situation? Is it?
Well,
It's not unfeasible, especially with the battery output that we have with just like 3S. It's the same as a car battery. You can use a 3S to jump a car.
yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. I'm glad you bring that up because as far as the technology, I run a Futaba, and I just recently got one, and I have two rigs, my Axial and my Bomber, my Jeep and my Bomber on the same controller.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, the spread spectrum technology, tested it, works fantastic. But to your point, they're coming out with 5G, right? You got
Hmm.
2.4G. So what's going to happen in 5 years? Are we going to move to that 5G platform, spread spectrum? Do we need to go, locked in where there's no interference? I mean, I never had that happen yet. but
Yeah.
where is that going to go? So the controller aspect is definitely something that's going to evolve and change, I feel. You see the servo wars. We're over 1,000 ounces of torque. I mean, I feel like you could pull a U-Haul trailer with 1,000 pounds, of torque. And then you got the motor and ESC market. Tires, Proline makes great tires. I have Hyraxes. They're solid tire. Pitbull, solid tire company.
Hot
Uh,
six.
yeah, who's
Yep.
got better rubber? All my
Hmm.
rigs have, I have mudslingers, RC4. Um, all the components I feel are in competition, and it's ever changing. And until that company gets that next big thing, like what is that? Servos have always been there. They can only get better. The design, the durability, motors can only get better. I mean, I watched all these, design videos on motors, how they have intercooled fans where they cool off on their own. Those are the next steps in the future. I mean, I think suppliers are going to take their products to the max. One of the big things that I want to bring up, Cal RC, one
Yep.
of the products I recently purchased was one of their jet blasters. I know you
What's
made
that
it.
like?
So I know you made a joke before that you don't clean your rigs, but getting off the trail, it's like a mini powered vacuum, air buster.
Interesting.
So I remember going back before I got this, you would have the cans of compressed air.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to use those to clean computers.
This is a high powered portable like air blaster, and I just recently got it.
Really?
Changed the game, like amazing.
I that you caught my interest there, uh, because I think that's one of the big things that I would actually use. I might not. I mean, I hose it down after, especially a muddy run, but that air blaster is a game changer. I agree, and I think that's one thing that I'm really looking for. Um,
So check
cool.
out Jet Blaster. It's
Okay.
called calrc.com.
Okay. Well, here's a good point. Possibly liquid cool motors that are brushed and brushless. And someone also brought up the idea for shocks, kind of like a car, it's like a strut. I think we talked about that at on a previous one with some developments, and that would be actually that would be really cool.
Yeah, and the shock game too. I mean, that's a great
That's
point.
a big
Whoever
one.
brought up the shocks. I mean, I feel like that's another
That's
element. I
right.
mean, I have all different shocks. I have King shocks, Proline shocks, which I'm having great luck with on my Jeep. The Proline scalers are fantastic. Nice flex, very reliable, but I like my 110 millimeter Kings on my Bomber. There's a lot of different elements out there in the shock game as well.
There
Lot,
is.
lot of players in the market. People like to stay with with what works, but I got three different pairs of shocks that I'm running. I can't say one's better than the other because they're all designed to do different things based on the drive style. So
That's a very good point. Because personally, I'm running on my super custom ring. I'm running stock Traxxas TRX shocks, because I found that they work really well for my style, and for what I want to do. And on my class 0 / old class 1, I'm running Desert Lizards because they
yeah,
work.
that's a lizard. You see those desert lizards are still around, and you see them on a lot of rigs, and people love them.
They work. I have only just enough oil to allow movement and what, and that's it. I mean, other than that, they're it's all droop. That's how I roll.
Yeah,
But
you know,
that's all set up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like I said, I got different shocks that do different things. Different servos do different things. For servo wench versus the amount
Yeah.
of torque. I have the 444 in my Jeep, but then I have the 555 because I got to move the 2.2 tires quick, right, to on the turn. So I think there's a lot of components to the industry, but I think, spectrum of radios, Bluetooth technology, 3D printing is huge. I can't tell you how many people and plans I see online, scale accessories. I know, what is it, Power Shift Technologies.
Power shift is huge.
They make the cow. I remember Cow RC raffled off one of their amazing branded scale garages, which I'm gonna probably invest in soon. But then where do you get the components? 3D printing. So I guess 3D printing, Bluetooth, spectrum technology how are you going to make motors better? The liquid cool, that was a great comment. People put fans on. When I had my Traxxas rig, I'd put a fan on the motor. It would always come off and fall in the street, and I would lose it. Um,
I know the pain. I have a fan on my Rustler.
so
Yeah.
that little tiny energy, fan motor, you going 60 miles an hour, it just falls off, and so much
So true.
you can only use so much Loctite. So yeah, I think that's the industry.
Yep.
There's a lot of things going on. It's exciting. Definitely looking forward to the future. As far as new builds for me, like I tell a lot of people on my teams, I'm constantly, I get that lucky 1 hour like you a
Yeah.
week. When the kids go to bed,
Yep.
I'm actually behind on projects. I finished my bomber. I just put lights on. I don't think there's anything else I could do to that, so that's done in my eyes. But I got an axial Yeti score. They discontinued. That's the other thing too about the industry. It's you fall in love with a rig and then it gets discontinued. So a lot of people still run the axial Yeti. It's a great solid rig. I'm in the process of making it 4S.
Okay.
People say I'm crazy. Why has it got to go that fast? But
Send it.
send it. That's my term.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm backed up. I got parts coming in every day. My wife said, I can't tell you how many Amazon boxes you know, but, you
I
know,
know that pain.
I don't think I could support another rig right now. I mean, I got parts all over, my work mat, but now I'm trying to get into road car racing. So, yeah, I got enough going on. But, definitely in my future, I do see the Marlin. Very excited about
Yep.
that. I really, the long wheelbase versus the regular, to be determined which one I go with. But I just think for the pro comp level, out of the box, I mean, you're ready to go. I mean, there's a few things maybe you got to change, but you can go right into a comp with that rig, the Trail Finder too.
Yep.
As I say, the Yoda. So, yeah, I mean, that's next on my list. But right now, I think I'm solid with.
I would agree. At least personally, I'm definitely solid. I got a C1, C2, C2, C3, and then also my C2 zero. C2, C0, Class 0, Class 1. A lot of things can do double duty with the magic switch of the tires. But when it comes down to the technology behind it's the evolution. We've seen brushless come into age pretty heavily, and we see it in power tools. And I'm actually seeing a lot of kind of on the same level. Power tools get a little bit better, and then actually that translates right into RC. RC gets a little better, then you're gonna see power tools getting better. And Brad, he's on fire tonight. He's throwing out the idea. I'm just gonna read off his list. Ready? Power assisted steering for the RC. That's feasible. Hunter alignment for tires for balancing units. I've used one. I'm trained. I know how to use them. It totally makes sense. That's one thing I'd love to see, especially with the Go Fast models. Laser alignments, dyno. That could really get into tuning right there. Might be a little difficult with the 4 wheel drive, but we could figure that out. And yeah, it's he's just on fire right now. Belted tires, Kevlar steel fiberglass reinforced belted tires. I mean,
Well, it's interesting.
that's interesting. Those are
Yeah,
great points. Taking
yeah,
car technology and really pushing that into RC. Is that going to happen?
yeah.
That's great points.
Those are great points. I mean, the one thing about the dyno is I just know from the castle setup I have with the Mamba Rex,
Yeah.
uh, it does record, right? It does record the driving, the drive style. But one of the defects, I think, of the design, like you look at Axial's UMG, it has a single lift technology where you could work on it. The whole body is on a hinge, right?
Right.
The Axial Bomber, just to get to the ESC, it takes forever. You got to basically take the whole top cage apart. It's not accessible. So for me to plug that into a computer to read all my drive stats, the dyno comment I like, is there a way you could plug a wire in and just get all the stats?
That's a
You know,
great
you
point.
get all the drive. For me to take apart a bomber just to plug it into my computer every time, if I want to read my statistics or my bell curve or all the times, my motor peaked and the temperatures. I know they have laser temp guns and that stuff, but Castle does a great job of recording all the drive data every time you power it on. But I'm not going to spend an hour taking apart my rig every time just to plug it into the computer. So I think the dyno comment was very well warranted, because there's got to be something. But like I said, all these new rigs coming out, like even the Jeep that I have, 4 pins, and you're at the ESC. I think it's just the way the bomber. I know it was a rock racer and the way it was designed, but just to get to the electronics, anybody that has a bomber knows you have to take apart almost the whole rig just to get to the. If you have to change a pinion, good luck. You better have a couple hours. Um, but yeah, that was a great comment. Definitely. I mean, I like the comment about the motor, the brushless. Like you said, you look
Yep.
at drills at Home Depot, brush versus brushless, way big, whole different world.
That is.
Brushless motors compared to a brush. You get the axial Jeep. It comes with a 35T stock brush motor.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference compared to a Castle that's brushless. I mean, it's night and day. So, the motor aspect with the brushless, the technologies of keeping those motors cool. A lot of my motors, I mean, my bomber is very heavy. I mean, there's a lot of weight on that thing, running over 100 degrees. I monitor the temps,
Right.
change the pinions, but um, I think there's a lot out there. There's a lot of markets to tap into. Any of the suppliers that are on here, there's a lot of, I guess, tapped resources of ideas and future products.
Yeah. I'm excited, honestly, especially with the censored uncensored game. That takes a whole new level. Like Hobby Wing. I know you're a Castle guy, but I'm a Hobby Wing guy, and they're coming out with that 3300. It's a 550 can, along with a giant update that's going to fix a lot of the issues that and a lot of the things that Hobby Wing people have complained about. So, are you familiar with the Chevy Silverado by chance? You'll see
Yeah,
where I'm going with this. All right, if you have active fuel management,
yeah,
so you know that delay that happens when you put it down, where it takes out a four-cylinder mode, then it decides what gear you want, and then she takes off.
yeah.
That's what the Hobby Wing Axe does. I
Wow.
think part of the reason why I like it so much because it so mimics my truck. Well, before I turned off four-cylinder mode, because who needs
Well,
gas mileage,
yeah,
and who needs to save their lifters? This guy. Um, so, but what I've been in contact with Hobby Wing, and one of the things that they're going to be doing for their update is actually fixing that. So it'll be more of a true response instead of a delayed gradual response, a a bell curve, or really a curve response, if you will. Which I'm going to find that great, especially when we get into mud. And you heard me reference the White Rose Hobbies course. That was 98% of that was mud, including a dedicated mud pit. Like it was something straight out of Motorama. And when I was at Motorama, I had that issue with the Hobby Wing where I actually overvolted it and I caused the ESC to shut off. And when that happens, you pull your truck, you're done. It's DNF. So they're fixing that, and that's probably my biggest complaint. And I was come up with an idea to fix that, to play the game, and but I'm still talking to a company trying to get this worked out. But I mean, I really want to see where this goes because you're seeing Castle. You're seeing Hobbywing. You're seeing Tekin. You're seeing all these companies push each other, and they're kind of like, all right, what's the next big move going to be? Um, so I'm excited, actually. I've only been in a hobby for less than a year. It'll be a year in July where I got sucked in. Um, and I'll tell you what, man, I'm excited to see where this goes. It's like the great, it's like almost like the heyday of really getting in, see where those products do, where the creative aspect comes. Are we dealing with hydraulic shocks anymore? Oh, are we going to go to, as Brad pointed out a while ago, a true, possibly even a magnetic type of a shock system, like they have on a Corvette? I
yeah,
don't know. Am I throwing it out there? Who knows? Sorry, I'm
yeah.
a Chevy guy, guys. Take it or leave it. It is what it is. um, but yeah, that I'm excited. I, I'm a nerd, but I'm excited. As one of my students who actually popped in on chat, will confirm I'm a nerd.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you make a lot of great points. Like, everything is, who's going to have the best product, what's new, what's hot. That's what people are going to go after. But I think, to say this, I think that taking the time to produce that quality and durability in your products. Like I said, my 555. I know you run your servos hard, but my bomber, no issues. Running through the mud, 10-pound
Hmm.
bomber, no problem. There's time spent in the quality of the design, and I think a lot of products out there, whether it's Hobby Wing, believe it or not, I think you'll be impressed. My team, Lossie has a Hobby Wing in it. So I'm just learning it. I opened up the body. I said, "What is this?" So now I'm learning about it. Um, there's a lot. There's a lot of companies out here that have great build and great design.
Yeah, they really do. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's funny you mentioned that your 10-pound bomber. My buddy Jerry, he's been in on chat. His TRX4 is about, they call it old heavy. I think he weighed it. It's like between 12 and 14 pounds.
Wow,
It's old heavy, 12 and a half. She's a
wow,
big girl. She's a big girl.
wow.
And what's powering it is a 555 all day.
Say that. So, and it goes back to the point that a lot of these companies are taking a little longer to push things out, but the quality's there.
Right.
It's very easy to mass produce products in the industry, and then they fail, and then people go to another brand. There's so many brands out there that
Yeah.
people like us can pick and choose what we want to go with.
Yep.
But it's those brands that push out that quality.
And that's exactly it. You have I'm gonna put out like 3 or 4 brands that of the servos that I didn't even consider, and part of it comes down to customer service too.
Yeah.
And that's another piece that, like, you can have all quality you want, but you don't have customer service. Why am I going to buy from you?
Yeah, and I
And
think
that,
I Yeah, and I think that, customer service is huge in any industry. You have a broken servo, you have a broken part, you call somebody. Do you get taken care of? Do
yep,
they try to help you? That's huge. That's going to have people coming back for more.
yes,
Like I mentioned before, back orders. One of the companies, I sent a nice email, give me a status, 10 days to get back to me. I mean, you put stuff on your website, you don't have stock, it shouldn't be on your website.
I
Plain and
agree.
simple. Would I buy from them again? Probably not, because the customer service element was not there. Hey, listen, they sent me things that I didn't order. All right, fine. Everybody makes mistakes. But when you take 10 days to get back to a customer when it's a new customer, that's going to put a bad taste in, your mouth. And there's so much competition where I could go buy that part somewhere else. So I think the customer service element for any company is huge, and that's going to make or break your fan base.
That's why her Horizon and Aiming have such huge followings. People hate their brands just because they gotta hate something. But they have great customer service.
Yeah,
That's I think that's the key to success, especially in our day and age. Social media gets, you have one bad experience, screenshot a couple things, boom, there goes your reputation for a while.
well, and I think too it comes down to, like we talked about earlier when we were testing this out. The negativity. The people that have to blame.
Yeah,
So, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but being a team driver, you're representing a brand. I feel like
I agree with you.
you work for companies as well, so I
Mm-hmm.
know you're sponsored as well,
Yeah.
and there's a certain professionalism. And one of the things that Mr. Reef and Heath from Cow RC, part of the vetting process is realizing you're supporting their vision, their brand. When I see people talk negative, it bothers me. Because that's something I would never do, because
Yep.
I support my brand until the day you say that
So,
I don't work for you no more. I know it's competition. You're going to have it and not just the RC industry. It's life, right? People
Right.
are going to think their product's better than yours. They're going to go back and forth and try to dig up dirt. And I get it. But if you're a team driver, I mean, this is coming from team drivers where they're bashing back and forth, back. Okay, great. But I guess it goes back to the company. It's a reflection, right?
It is.
Because I
And
would never talk like that about the companies that I support. And
I,
yeah,
it's also a reflection on the hobby as well.
yeah,
And you see people eating their own in other communities. I'm large into the firearms community as well, and that's part of the reason why I've actually kind of backed out of it is because people are like, one brand, breathe fire, go ah. I can't do that. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, but it's not gonna always work for me. And that's like what I'm looking for when I'm talking to people is people coming up and saying, okay, well, all right, this have you tried it this way? Have you tried it this way? All right, if you have, that's kind of the troubleshooting. All right, well, then maybe this particular product's not for you. And that's what I think is kind of almost becoming lost is that people eating each other, and and I've seen it in other communities in RC as well, especially with the Go Fast communities.
yeah.
Oh, you're stupid immediately. Immediately, you don't have any skill. You could have done this for 20 years, but you don't have skill. That's not right. Maybe.
Well, and that's a good point because we're here to learn, right? The
Yep.
way we're going to continue the hobby is helping people, not bashing people. It's like me showing up to my first racetrack, which will be shortly. I'm there to learn. I'm not going to know everything. I'm a crawler. I'm not an RC racer. I was taught from people that we're here to help people to continue the industry, not
Yes.
bash it and turn people away. Not
Yes.
everybody needs their start. I taught myself this industry just with my visions and the way I wanted my rigs to look. I'm still learning. I don't know everything, I'll be honest, but I look for guidance in my team driver, members. They're great. They help me out. I got lifelines if I have questions. Uh,
Yep.
you know, that's what being a good team driver is. So the negative press, it's always there in life, no matter what. It's not just the RC industry, but when you're a team driver, my vision is you're representing a brand, and you
Yeah.
should be more professional. You shouldn't be bashing other products across social media, and
It
that's just my take on it.
it's also it's not even just that. It's like, well, it really is that, but there's even more to it. Um, it comes down to being open to the constructive criticism of being able to make a mistake and try and figure it out. You have you have people who are actively trying to troll, and if you can go back into my Facebook history, I love to start dumpster fires. I love them. I will walk away for it, throw jet fuel on it a day later, watch it explode all over again. But since I kind of got into the RC in a more serious way, um, I, I've taken back and reflected. I'm like, is that the way I want to behave? Is that the way I want my name to be?
Yeah,
There's huge. There's that personalization issue that comes in, um, and that's what I don't want. I don't want to see happen, and that's what we are seeing happen inside some of the forums.
yeah,
Uh,
and it's funny you say your name, right? So before I don't want to run out of time, but this is a good discussion here. You and I both are building our brand. We're kind of similar in the years in the industry right now, right? And I started my Instagram account, RC underscore Team Zone, with 5 followers. I'm going to break 700. I did it all on my own. Doesn't seem like a lot. People have 20K. I get it. Some people buy their users, which I heard, which I refuse to do.
so do I.
Uh, I will never buy or pay to, I want to do it on my own. So brand recognition you talk about. How do you build your name in the industry? That's why I take my sponsors that I work for very seriously, and I follow the products and support them because my Instagram is my name.
Yep.
It's my brand. You know me by Facebook. I'm bigger on Instagram than Facebook, but my sponsors know that I believe in the products. I'm trying to build my brand just like you. So it's your name that you're building. So my Instagram, and I would like to tell everybody to check it out. It's
Please
interesting.
do.
I spend a lot of time on Instagram hashtagging, but
Yeah, you
you know
do.
that's
I'm
that,
surprised you
that's
don't have it pre-saved on your clipboard, ready to go. Boom.
Yeah, I tried that. It don't work. Something happens when I paste it in. But yeah, because it just takes a long time for that right shot. And a lot of the sponsors, the right angle, the right
Hmm.
review, of the product. But you're right. It's your name is on it, and I know you're very strict about your YouTube channel, your Facebook. You have a lot of great videos, a lot of great posts. I follow your Facebook, and I'm sure you care about your brand too.
Yeah,
So it's that level of professionalism where I'm not going to be in a Facebook forum bad mouthing a company because it's going to reflect poorly on the brand that I'm trying to create for myself.
it is. It
You know?
is, and I'm actually in the process. You and I share that same as you referenced earlier. My sponsors, Wafi Lipo, which is available on Amazon, and then In the Works RC, which they do 3D printing. They do links, huge high clearance links, like straight custom. Um, like he's local, so he and I do a lot of collaborations. And since I have such a bad habit of buying trucks, part of part of it, actually, he got a lot of his business started by using my trucks as his stuff. The reason he has D90, TRX is what it is, but some of the odd stuff, HPI, that's because that's what I like to drive. I like weird stuff. That's just my style. And I really look forward to seeing how these small guys develop as well. I mean, I'd love to get in with Reef. I'm not gonna lie, that would be awesome. But I'm not gonna go seeking it out because that's not my place. He's got a heck of a representation here in Virginia, and an hour south of me, and Bill's been a mentor to me, not only through the internet, but also in real person. So that he's guided me tons, and that's why I reference him often. And I just look forward to seeing where everything goes. Um, it Yeah, it's crazy, dude. And
That's
I'd love to see both of our brands grow. And that's part of the reason why I like to do these interviews. It's
yeah,
just to talk and get it out there.
yeah, and that's why you got that banner behind your head, right?
Dude, I got that banner behind the head because that came with the 555 and the 444 that I bought in the same day. That was an expensive day. I'm not gonna lie. My
Sure.
wife was not very happy when she got that credit card bill.
Yeah,
I might have paid a price.
but yeah, no, I definitely
We all know that one.
know. Trust me. If she only knew. But I think it's great. These live chats. You have had some great people on these. You had Mr. Reef. You've had a lot of other people in the
Yeah.
industry that are big. These are great chats. I thank you for the opportunity, and I want to thank all the people following me. I want to thank everybody that's followed me on my journey from my first follower. I look forward to seeing you grow. I'm not going nowhere. Like my wife says, we have expensive toys. Uh,
So do I.
the expensive toys will, grow, I'm sure. But it's all about having fun, right? It's I remember Cal RC posted a really cool picture of my daughter. I think you probably saw it. One day she was in my work, my garage, my workshop, and she set up all the Cal RC products on my work mat, and she started building. I came in the garage and I said,
Nice.
"Wow, this is a great shot," and it's on Cal RC's Instagram, and it's getting the young, like your daughter. I love the videos of her rolling a truck, and it's getting them started. I'm
Yeah.
almost did. I told my wife I'm going to buy my daughter the Can-Am Yeti from Axial for my daughter. I mean, make it pink. Just get her something. She ain't going to touch Daddy's good ones, but it's getting the younger generation going.
Hey,
So
well, yeah. Hey, you know what's funny? As I'm watching our chat, my buddy Yaman is throwing up, "Where's your accent from?" And it's funny because we threw out in the very beginning when we first started talking. I'm like, "What kind of Boston New Yorker are you?"
I get Boston all the time. Born and raised in New York, and I get that all the time. But yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, strong accent over the air. But
My buddy, my one of my good friends is from from Long Island too. He moved down here to DC to go be a cop and do cop things. There's a surprise, right? New York cop. It is what it is. But yeah, he's got that same accent, man, and that's why I'm like, I picked it out of the air. I just knew.
Yeah, no, it's and, I get pegged all the time, but hey, man, you'll remember me. But
That's an understatement. I get you to say coffee at least one time.
I'll be drinking coffee soon.
There it is, coffee. There it is.
But
Uh,
yeah, I mean, going back to the brand and stuff.
yeah,
The last thing, because I know we're going to run out of time, is you know keeping, how do we spread this industry, right? My
yeah,
vision, not a 5-year plan, but, for the rest of it that I'm in it, is how do we get the younger generation, right? Is it trade shows? Is it more pro line by the fire kind of events, bringing your daughter or son? And that's why I love, a lot of people, Cal RC, Reef, a lot of their team members, they post pictures sometimes with their kids and, at the track, and, or if you bring your daughter when you go on a comp out in a trail. Those are the things that I like to see, right? Because it's showing that there's a following behind us.
yep.
The whole bad mouthing, that's going to kill the industry.
It
And I
will.
know, I know it's fair competition, right? It's life that we live in. Everybody's negative and has something to say, but I'm looking forward to it. This was a great chat, a lot of great ideas. I thank you, man, for letting me join. I mean, I know I've been after you to do this, but I'm glad it happened.
Yep.
To keep in touch, and thank you for all my followers on Instagram. Whoever's on here, have seen my page, RC_Team Zone. Check it out. All my builds are there.
Yep.
You'll see some cool things, man. And I look forward to collaborating with you, man. We'll keep in,
Absolutely.
and we'll see where the future goes, man.
I do look forward to it. Just as a closing thought, I think one of the big things that we can do as parents and as teachers is actually try and bring the hobby into the classroom, or with after school activities, maybe in the classroom. You'll see one of my videos on a channel. I actually had my TRX, and I had through with excess wood. I had my 6th grade and 8th grade build a little course,
Nice.
and say, stop this truck. Needless to say, they failed. They might have won, but I had a servo winch, so they
Uh,
didn't. So that's part of the reason. And I actually take my trucks into the classroom. When for a good class, I'll just drive it around like at the end, toward the end of class, and kind of have fun with the kids. And that's getting them interested. And just from that, I've had a bunch of kids come up and say, I really like that. What can I do to look into this? And I was able to give them, so, all right, this is where you do RTR, especially for them and their parents, and then play that game. Um, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this hobby grows, just like you are. Our kids are this generation right now is the future. Plus, don't forget, we can also advocate just being going out on the trails. I have people stop me all the time like, "What is this?" I've actually never had somebody tell me that's for young kids. I've had everybody like, "That's awesome. That's cool. Dude, that really looks like an FJ. I got an FJ. I want to buy one of those." Well, here you go. Go over to Chantilly Hobby Hanger and go pick one up. I think they still have one in stock. Make
yeah.
them order another one. So that also gets them into the stores themselves. That's
Yeah.
another dying thing,
Yeah.
is get the actual brick and mortar. So the
Yeah.
more
The
we're able to
local.
advocate,
Yeah, the
advocate.
local the local hobby, that's a whole nother discussion maybe for the future. But I feel like there's been a lot of local hobby stores in my area, nonetheless, that have closed
Yep,
down.
yep,
As far as the three that there's three main ones left that I go to in Long Island where I live, but there used to be so much more back in the day, and people lose an interest in the hobby, and it's the people that are still left standing, like you said, promoting on the trails.
hmm
I know Reef builds race, courses, trail courses, giving back to the community, doing things for kids, RC events for kids. There's a lot you can do to keep the industry going, and I get sad when you see these local hobby shops going out of business because they just who's going to buy $100 servo if
Have you
you know
seen Northern Virginia?
oh,
Let me just throw this out there. Our local hobby shop. had a jet powered F-35 that was like, I think it was a 110. It was huge. You know, it was massive. And I asked the hobby shop owner, Quan, I'm like, how much is that thing really? He's like, you really want to know? He's like, yeah. And I told him, yeah. He's like, about 20 grand.
20
And
grand.
about 3 weeks later, I walked in, and it was gone.
Wow.
Yes. So I mean, people definitely like the hobby because they specialize in cars and air. Not much water, but definitely they got the crawlers, a couple go fasts, mostly crawlers and air, and that's really cool. At least in my eyes, because we also have airfields that sponsor the air shows with the RC.
Wow.
They have a great relationship, and that's what I'm trying to help build in our area. And I know Jerry, who's watching as well, is doing his best to help get that, because he's from my area. I know him personally. That's the biggest thing that we're trying to do is just grow, get the message out there, do the trails, have fun with it. Um, hey, Yaman, take my word for it. The average price of a house around here and where I live is at least 450,000. That's not even close to a mortgage. That's the price of like that's dinner for a night, maybe a movie. You know, you're in New York. Things aren't much cheaper,
No, no, no. But
and your taxes are higher.
yeah, yeah, you got that. But yeah, definitely. I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, even they just had the PGA tournament right down the block from my house.
Yeah,
They actually have air where you could buy a license, and they have gas competition air, and they sponsor it, and
that's
that's where
cool.
all the crawling. So whoever is into the hobby, 20 miles of trails, so it's an untapped market. It's just like I mentioned earlier, where I live is not a big crawling. There's no races. There's no, which is a disadvantage, because a lot where you live, where Reef is out in California, huge, right?
Yep.
Axle Fest, where Pro Line by the Fire, everything out that way is huge. But out here, it's more of, all right, let's go in the driveway and do some donuts.
Yep.
That's we'll go get a Traxxas, Rustler, and we'll go do some. Which the new one, the big one, is pretty massive. But that's the hobby out here. It's just getting your son, daughter a truck, going in the driveway, break a couple parts, and then you throw it out. So yeah, so I'll be posting a lot of videos. I just want to tell everybody out there. I know everybody's been busting my chops, but when you have two kids and an hour a week, it's hard to get out there. But I'll be posting some videos. Check out my Instagram. Mike, thanks, a pleasure. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
All right, you guys, viewers, I want to say thank you, guys. We've had quite a few viewers tuning in and out. I don't quite know who's been on the whole time, but I've seen our numbers pretty consistent. And look, guys, please let's work. It's on us to spread the hobby. It's on us to get the word out there. And the more respectful we can do it, the more cleanly we can do it, that's where we're going to grow our interest. Those kids are going to look to us, so we've got to provide that background and we got to provide that base.
All
All
right.
right, guys, thank you very much, and everybody, have a great night. Thank you very much,
Talk
Peter. Have a
soon.
great one, brother.
You
Appreciate
too.
it.
Take care.
All right, you too. Bye.